Everybody's got a price for the $1 Million Man.
Who's that kid? Nick. He looks like Beaker from Muppets.
The one on FS1, Nick Wright.
Yep. Yeah. I got something.
That's amazing.
I
did not even. I love that.
If I get 5 women and they're all in the same room with me, we're going at it at 110%.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of wrong show. Lazy Booking Podcast. That's right. Don't adjust your dials. I am the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. My name is Ritz, and I'm taking over. Chrome is unavailable this evening, so he reached out, asked me to jump on here with the one and only Mr. Eric Archer.
What's happening? It's a hostile takeover.
It is. It's a coup.
Where's the graffiti? We got to start spraying LAZY.
It's a coup d'etat.
Yes. We are taking over, sir.
We absolutely are. We are here live. It is Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. It is 72 hours removed from Survivor Series, 24 hours removed from Monday Night Raw. We've got a lot to talk about, but before we do that, we got to show some love. Dr. Paul Vidal and his team at SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. They sponsored this show and every other show. Check them out at Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey, or find them on the web right there, SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. He's our doc. Make him yours. We thank him for sponsoring this and every episode of Lazy Booking Podcast.
Thank you.
Arch, we have a very interesting evening tonight. As I said, Chrome is not here. You two schmoes decided you were going to put together this little shindig that we call a show. And we're going to dive right into things. Did he not put...
Head first, baby.
So he has So I'm in his folder in the producer side, and everything is in order, but the topic, the poll question is at the dead top. So I was like, he didn't have it in here. WWE Survivor Series WarGames did not live up to the hype. Agree or disagree? Obviously, like I said, we are 72 hours removed from Survivor Series. Petco Park. Me and Butters had an incredible live reaction show on Saturday. If you missed it, go back, check it out. You'll get some great insight from us. But we'll start with you, Eric. Where do you fall on this? Did it live up to the hype? Did it not live up to the hype? Walk me through it.
Yeah, and also those of you that are joining in, we want to hear from you as well on these topics, especially this one here. I have to say, if I was somebody that was in attendance at Petco Park, I may be a little upset about the lack of matches. Some people I saw didn't have had issues with their seats where they got moved due to stage issues. So they redid some of the configuration. If I'm somebody who thought they were getting AEW Blood and Guts Part 2, then clearly you're not getting that, and it's not living up to the hype. For me, I disagree. And the reason I disagree is because I feel like, especially the 2 WarGames matches, you got what you were hoping for, specifically with the men. And we're going to talk about that as we move along. Not going to go into complete detail on it, but I feel like each match had story going into it that we either got a conclusion to it or it's starting something new. We talked about it last week where Survivor Series is typically the pay-per-view or the PLE most of the time, where you start to plant those seeds for WrestleMania season, starting with the Royal Rumble. So I feel like we got that, especially when it came to the men's WarGames match. I feel like the women's WarGames match, like I said, we're going to talk about it, but I feel like there was purpose and agenda that was accomplished in those matches. So I feel like it did what it was supposed to do. Was it the greatest PLE ever? No. Do I feel like it's getting a lot of bad rap on social media? 1,000%. I think it did what it was supposed to do. So I disagree.
Well, let's talk about that. It's getting a lot of bad hype on social media, and I think you hit the nail on the head at a certain point. You said if you were looking for Blood and Guts Part 2, right? One, you clearly aren't a WWE fan in tune with the product if that's what you were looking for, because never has WWE ever said, "Hey, look what they did. We're going to do it the same way." Especially something to that caliber of Blood and Guts, which I will go on record, that was too much. When you're looking at Survivor Series and you look at it from a whole, it played out exactly how we thought it was going to play out when it came to the match card, when it came to the victors, who was going to win, who was going to lose. So on that aspect, it was a little predictable, but I think when you look at how things played out, specifically with the way that people were brought into each War Games match, you got very different dynamics throughout there. And for two matches to both go on for 40 minutes, obviously the women went about 30-ish seconds longer than the men. They were the bulk of the show. And it was different because it wasn't a baseball stadium. It was different because you didn't have the shark cages. So there's some content that we missed. We didn't see those interactions. So they made small, minute changes throughout the show that made it feel like you took the Royal Rumble and combined it with Survivor Series and specifically War Games. You know, having them all get their entrances and come down to the ring and everything like that. Do I think it lived up to the hype? Here's the problem. WWE as a whole, from Saturday to even last night, they said that this was going to be groundbreaking. It was going to be revolutionary. It was going to be epic. It was going to be something that we would talk about for ages and ages and ages. And I think they backed themselves into a corner with that. I think they created this unobtainable goal for themselves when you only have 4 matches on the card. This unattainable goal for themselves when you're looking at really some of your best stars all in one spot. Like they even said it Saturday night. The men's war game match was an all-star game. That's exactly what it was. And I'm no sports guy, but even I know the all-star games are never live up to the hype that they are supposed to. Right? So do I think they lived up to the hype? I gotta disagree, only because the only thing you take away from Survivor Series, you take 2 things away from Survivor Series. You took Liv Morgan, whose entrance, and we'll get into it in just a moment. We're going to go through all the matches, whose return kind of fell flat, I think. And I think part of that was because you're in an open air stadium. I think part of that is people expected it to happen. And then the masked man during the men's match. So with those different things at play, it's what did you give me? What did you bring to the table? What did you say? What did we take away other than John Cena's final PLE? Okay, woohoo, big whoop. In the grand scheme of it all, I would like to, and I think the other problem is we went in so excited because Survivor Series is the kickoff. It's like the preseason, right? Between now to Royal Rumble, this is preseason for WWE. You know, SummerSlam to Survivor Series is like training camp. It's like spring training. Insert your sport analogy here. Survivor Series to the Royal Rumble, that's preseason. And then Rumble to Mania, that is the true regular season. Do you know what I mean? There is no postseason. There is no, because then you go straight into the draft and other stuff. And I can make sports analogies about all entire WWE year. We all went into this really thinking we were going to get more. And I want to jump into the matches right now. And I want to go straight into, you know, the women's match. They kick off the show. You know, Team Rhea, AJ Lee, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, Io Sky, and Rhea Ripley. They take down Team Asuka, which was Becky Lynch, Last Legend, Nia Jax, and the Kabuki Warriors. I was obviously live, so some of my stuff, you know, we were exclusive on Lazy Booking Podcast over on YouTube, and we were also on my Twitch channel. Thank you guys also, by the way, for the support on all of that. We had an amazing time. What did you think of the match?
So I think, like I was saying, you know, things that were kind of expected in the match, and we talked about it last week, where at least I was under the assumption that Becky Lynch was going to be the one that was going to take the fall, only because of kind of her story that's been going on with the conspiracy and blaming everybody for kind of starting a downward trend. So I think that in that part of it, it lived up to the purpose. But I think, especially we talked about also highlighting the younger talent, and I think this may have been a missed opportunity to highlight Lash Legend a little more. I know she got a few spots in, and she was the last woman to enter on the bad girls on the heel side. So you would figure she'd come in and just go to town and throw people around. She did a little bit, but I kind of wanted to see I wanted to see more. I wanted to see more of an impact. I think there's still, of course, she just came up from NXT, so of course there's plenty of time for her to get that. But I think in that stage, with 40,000+ people at Petco and watching on ESPN, I think that was a missed opportunity to
I'm going to
highlight
stop
her.
you. I'm going to stop you right there. I disagree, and the reason I disagree is because as soon as I threw it to you and I said, "What did you think of the women's war game match?" the very first thing you brought up was Lash Legend. I think that having her come out last, and she took her time. She soaked all that in. They stayed with her. They didn't like cut back to the ring for half a step. No, they stayed with her the entire time that she walked down to that ring, because she did. She walked. She didn't even put a little pep in her step. She took her time. She got in there and she started just leveling people left and right. And they really made her look like such $1,000,000. And fast forward to the end of that match, she takes an awful miss from Asuka. I don't think Asuka was really ready for how tall she was. She took an awful miss from Asuka, and it protected her from everything that would follow on that. They did a great job protecting last year. They did a great job highlighting last year. This was Lash's match.
I don't agree, because I think I wanted to I agree that she got her licks in, but I wanted to see more. I think it could have been more.
And I get what you're saying with that, because when we talk about the men's match, I wanted more. And so I get that logic, but I don't want to take away from what she did, because given the opportunities, she took all of them, and all other 9 women in there helped make her look fantastic for being the youngest on the roster in that match, for being the one with the most inexperience in a match like that, in a setting like that, in front of that many people. They made her look great. Not that she's not great, but they all helped elevate her. They did their jobs and she did hers in return.
I think I just think it's overshadowed by that last segment, that last part with Asuka. But I just think I don't know.
Let me ask you this question, and we're jumping ahead to Raw a little bit, but if her and Nia are in that segment at the end of last night, or even at the start of the night, when Rhea and Io come out, and then Charlotte and Alexa come out, if they're involved in that in any way, shape, or form, does that change your mentality on it?
Maybe a little, just because they highlight, and we're going to talk about it, and I think that was one of the highlights of Raw, was the emergence of tag teams on the women's side. All of a sudden, now you've got a series of women's tag teams that have organically been created, and now that could have been one there, and maybe that continues, because you can defend the tag titles on Raw and SmackDown. Maybe we see that Friday night. But I think just because it's momentum that you can bring, and if you're coming in and want to highlight her even more, it's a way to do that. But I'll wait till SmackDown, if we see a little bit of her and Nia kind of getting involved in continuation of kind of that momentum we're seeing, then maybe. I think that's
I think it's also hard, because the Kabuki Warriors are heels, and so are Lash and Nia. because taking the mist, Lash should have very easily come out there and just leveled Asuka. But she's the heel. They're not going to do that during the fight. So there's ways to do that. I think, and again, it's a catalyst of them backing themselves a little bit into a corner by putting them in this WarGames match. I do think though that Lash did phenomenal. But let's talk a little bit more about some of the spots. We had Io Sky bring the track. AJ Lee. No, Rhea Ripley brought out Io's trash can.
Yeah, Io brought the lid out, and then the trash can followed.
Gave it to her with the most adorable upsies that ever in the planet Earth. And then what no one, I don't know if I know we didn't catch it on the live, but she does Io's taunt while on Rhea's shoulders as Io jumps off the cage, which was a great spot. If anything here, and I want to focus on Becky Lynch for a moment, having Jessica Carr in the ring, having Jessica Carr be a part of that finish is really important for the storyline for Becky Lynch. But it was interesting. They mentioned in the pre-show, and we talked about it a lot on the live, if somebody left the ring, then that would have forfeited them for their team. That was the moment you should have had Becky dip out of the ring. When Io takes all of them out, Becky should have just walked over, kicked the door open, and gotten out.
Didn't she try at one point?
She tried climbing the cage, and they brought her back in. And that's when they all hit her with the different moves. And AJ locked her up in the Black Widow. But that was because if you didn't do it in the men's match, you made such a point to highlight it. Where was it from here? Like where were you going to do it? And that would have fit Becky with what she's doing, boycotting Raw right now, how she's calling out Jessica Carr, how she's calling out Adam Pearce, and saying she never tapped. It would have fit so well right there.
Agreed.
And it would have given everybody on her team, if, for example, Lash could have turned around and bicycle kicked Becky Lynch last night when Becky was doing her boycott promo on social media. Lash could have cut through and bicycle kicked her or something because she gave up on the team and that kind of dynamic, which would have signaled a face turn. And it might not be all that bad. You don't have a lot of heels over on SmackDown that are singles, and you really don't.
True.
You gotta set the stage and lay a foundation for these people, and the heels that they do have, you're not doing much with. I think your best heel woman on SmackDown right now is
Jade.
But then a close second is Zelina.
Don't forget Chelsea Green too. So you got.
It's weird though. I don't consider Chelsea a heel.
She's easy to and the way that they're talking about SmackDown, but it's kind of weird after last Friday. Who's the heel and who's the baby face with Jade and Chelsea? So it's like, are you programmed? Like, where's that going? I'm sure it's going. Jade's gonna just wreck everybody, and doesn't matter who it is. But I think too. I mean, there's not a lot of baby faces over on there either. So that could be an opportunity for somebody to step up and face Jade until the inevitable Bianca return.
Correct, and I think that's what you need. You need to set that up.
Going back to the match real quick. What did you think about? I see a lot. I see people online, and I think I'm going down rabbit holes sometimes, and people complaining. And one of the things I hear is AJ Lee didn't get involved in the match at all, except for the end, and she didn't do anything. Like, she's not supposed to do anything. Part of her. I think too, like a WarGames match with her, I think it's by name only. Like, she's in it for the name. Like, you're gonna put her in the match not to do like power move. That's not what she does. She's more of a psychological tactic type wrestler. So for her to be in the match, it's great. I'm glad she was in it, and it furthers that story with Becky. But I think she's just getting too much. There's just too high of expectations for somebody, especially she hasn't wrestled much in the last decade. So to expect her to come into a War Games match and like wreak havoc is just like that's just crazy.
I made the analogy on the live, and I don't remember which match it was, if it was the men's War Game or the women's War Game. You really treat it like the Royal Rumble. So if you think about it, everybody comes down, they all get their 90 seconds, 2 minutes, whatever it is, before the next person comes out. AJ did great in her 2 minutes that she had, right? And then they all kind of did individual things. She was a part of things, but she was a supporting character.
Mm-hmm.
This was not for her to be the main star of this match. Ultimately, she would be involved in the finish because it helps further her storyline with Becky, which we all know is not truly done, which, by the way, shout out to AJ Lee and CM Punk. Their dog did pass away. I believe it was this morning. So our thoughts and prayers are with them as we go through this, as they go through this. I'm sorry. But this was not hers. This was to further a storyline by using the finish. This match was for literally everybody else. Her and Becky were only in there because Becky didn't do much either.
No.
Right? I think Becky was supposed to do some more of the spots, but the chain, specifically the chain that Kyrie brought down to the ring, I don't think that chain was big enough to wrap around all three of the faces, so Becky had to hold it. I think that spot was to have all three of them do the drop kick. Because you see Becky's face, she looks a little concerned, a little confused as, wait a minute, this worked earlier. It was definitely for them. I think everybody was highlighted very, very well throughout that match. I think everybody kept up throughout that match. If I put the two matches against each other, the men's versus the women's, I enjoyed the women's more. And I think it's because it had a better flow, and we didn't leave ourselves going, what the hell just happened?
Agreed.
Oh, all right.
Next,
we're gonna skip the John Cena Dominic Mysterio match for just a moment because that's gonna really lead us into some Monday Night Raw stuff as well. So we're gonna go straight to Stephanie McHare, Nikki Bella. This was exactly what you thought it was going to be. It was a solid match. I think Nikki showed she doesn't really have the ring rust we all thought she was going to have. And being able to go in there with somebody like Stephanie McHare, who comes from a different background than anything Nikki had ever faced in her original run, and is really at her peak at the top of her game. Nikki not being an active star for a long time. I think these two work very, very well together. And I know that this feud is not over by no stretch of the imagination. But it was a good showing for both. And I think Stephanie defeating a Hall of Famer like Nikki, who was a dominant champion in her era, really helped solidify her run as well.
Definitely. I also you kind of pointed to the fact they worked well together. I think Stephanie is showing that she can make anybody look good. She made Tiffany Stratton look good with their match a few months back. Was that Crown Jewel? But or one of those. But I think this was the right person for Nikki to get in the ring with. I think Nikki held her own. She did a good job, and not much more to say about that one. I mean, I think you're right. I think you probably get another match out of that before seems like they tease some stuff on Raw, but we'll get into that too.
Well, and Nikki I don't know if you saw it on social media. Nikki said, when my face heals, I'm coming after you.
Yeah.
Because Nikki was playing off the 2 devil's kisses that she got, which, by the way, and I'm not going down the path you think I'm going to go down with this. I don't know if Nikki doesn't know how to take the move.
Yeah.
I don't know if nobody told her what to do. I don't know if that was intentional for a story. But good Christ almighty, woman, put your hands out. Like her hands were like they were tied behind her back, and her face was just hitting the mat. Right? Yeah. I know there's some of Stephanie's knees there to help prevent that, but there were a couple times I'm like, wait a minute, I think she really hit there.
Yeah, it's because sometimes when the woman, whoever's taking it, kind of does it way too much, and this was not enough or not at all.
And I don't remember who it was, but I remember one NXT. Stephanie did the move to somebody, and you hear Stephanie go, "Put your hands up." So we didn't hear that on Saturday because I had audio all Saturday in my ear. We never heard that, which I thought was interesting. So I think there was a little bit of story behind that. I at least hope, because to take that a little unprotected is crazy.
Yeah, and if it has to do with it, hats off to Nikki for taking that.
That's what I have to say about that.
We got the men's war games.
Yeah, let's do the men's war games. This frustrated me so much because you literally have all of your top guys in this match. You have both of your world champions. You have easily first ballot Hall of Famers in Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. You have Drew McIntyre, who's been on top of the world for years. Jey Uso, who's been so important these last few years. Logan Paul, up and coming, but such a social media darling, infamously darling, right? We all thought Jimmy Uso was going to take the L here, number one. That's why he was in this match. Of all of them, he has the least impact. He's always been a supporting character. But you have Punk take the L from Braun Breaker. Okay, I did say it. If we were going to do something with Braun, we were doing it at Survivor Series. So at least I come out right on that. But then you throw this mysterious figure in the fray, and he hits a perfect curb stomp. I mean, a perfect curb stomp on Punk. And now you're trying to tell me it might be Seth Rollins. At least on Raw. That was the Adam Pearce bit. Oh, wait. You didn't tell me who it was at all. Your promo in the ring didn't allude to him at all. This is where I wanted more. I wanted the reveal. If you wanted to leave that match, which was a cluster, because you had Roman and Brock fighting outside the ring. Yeah, that made a ton of sense. Brock stepped out of the ring before the match started, so his team didn't forfeit. But Brock steps out of the ring to meet Roman out there. They beat the crap out of each other, then go in there, and Brock throws everybody around for a little bit, and then he just takes a nap. He took a nap. He wasn't part of the last 5 minutes of the match. Roman, not a part of the last 5 minutes of the match. Right? The reveal should have happened Saturday night. It will die on this hill, because then Monday night, when you go to Raw, which is supposed to be this big, epic, huge Raw of the year, we start out with Io and Rio. When is the Braun Breaker segment? Not even at the top of the hour. It's at the bottom of the first hour, rolling into the top. What? Oh, and we don't mention it at all. Braun Breaker has a borderline aneurysm in the ring. I'm confuzzled.
Can we talk a little more about the war games? What was
We're all talking about the war games. I'm just
no. I mean, like I'm continuing like the kind
like
of
where it falls flat for me.
What about
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Where it falls flat for me is that you did nothing in this match. You did 40 minutes of twiddling your thumbs, Jey Uso not understanding where he is half the time, and then you have such an anticlimactic end. And then the bit after with Roman and Punk, Roman and Cody, this is the last time we team up, and like, It made me so mad. I wasn't mad on the air because I think part of that was because we were on the air. I was enjoying doing the live reactions. We had a good time. It was a great show. I've had time to think. And the match pissed me off. Go ahead. Of course, Brinkman thinks it's a solid pay-per-view. Of course he does.
Look, so two things that you didn't allude to the match that I'm kind of puzzled with is what was the deal with Cody's elbow to Punk, and then they allude to it a little bit like when they were together, the three of them with Roman, and he's like, "You hit me in the face. What's that?" And then they walk off together. So, like, what was that all about? The other thing, why in the middle of a War Games match do you decide to turn the music back on and do some yeets?
I didn't have a problem with them turning the music back on for two reasons. One, I am not an AEW guy. I am not a fan of it at all. What I am a fan of is when they do the Anarchy in the Arena match and they just have music playing while there's people beating the crap out of each other. Selfishly, I enjoyed that. Right? Okay, fine. But then to have Brock's music, you don't even do a timer. You did nothing. Brock just said, screw it, and cut it off. That was perfect. That was a great setup for Brock Lesnar. It was his way of saying, screw your rules, screw everything. So it served a purpose. Now, if they got through it and nothing happened and Brock didn't come down to the ring or whatever have you, okay, fine. I'm pissed. But I think here it served its purpose.
You're talking about missed opportunities and Roman not being in the match 5 minutes, but you're okay with that? You're okay with 3 to 4 minutes of music playing that they're doing nothing? We got Punk playing air guitar. I mean,
first of all, air guitar on a chair.
You're missing parts of that's opportunity that you could have had another spot instead of for the live crowd. Cool. Like if I'm in the crowd and I hear that, great. But if I'm watching it on ESPN or Netflix or whatever, I'm like, what the hell is this?
So two things, right? One, I think some things should be for a live crowd. Do it for the sake of having the live crowd. I've been to a lot of shows, right? And sometimes that stuff kind of wakes people up and brings them back in. Do you know what I mean? I won't say it was a long show because it really wasn't. It was only 2.5 hours, something like that.
A lot of breaks.
There were a lot of breaks. Of breaks.
Yeah.
But so you need, and also you're gonna have 45,000 people in there, and you're not gonna give them a moment to yeet. Which let's call it what it is. It is the most over entrance in professional wrestling. It's what people love doing.
If they wanted it, come out first. Have them come out first. That's the thing. Like,
I see your point. I'm not saying you're wrong.
Right? I know. But yeah, like I just think it was out of. I get the concept, and I agree with you that like it served a purpose. I get like
Jey can't.
Brock comes out and does whatever he wants.
Here's the other problem, though. Jey can't go the full time. He gets blown up too easily. We saw that when he was world champion.
Mm-hmm.
We saw it when he would come down to the ring and he would yeet and he'd be winded by the time the match would start. So I'm okay with that. Again, looking at it from a storyboard, right? If you have Brock Lesnar come out during his music, you didn't do a timer for Brock. You didn't do nothing. It was Brock's way of saying, screw your rules. I'm not waiting your 3 minutes. It felt like forever, I think, because they didn't change camera angles. They really just stayed there. So I think it felt like forever, but I don't think it was really all that long.
That's a good point.
And then Brock comes down and starts wrecking shop on everybody.
Yeah. I'll say, too, we talked about earlier about like the shark cages, and I'm a huge proponent and a fan of the shark cages. Now, I know they didn't do them in WCW. I got that all week. They didn't do them in the original War Games. Okay. But they did them starting in NXT. and we've seen some really good moments out of those. We saw Dakota Kai turn on Tegan Knox.
Great callback.
Yeah, like we've seen some really good moments in those things. Now, I get that the stage was extremely small, and I saw some on the pregame show. I guess it was brought up about the people, the wrestlers coming out through the dugout, so they couldn't. So it logistically made sense not to have the shark cages, but I think just the uniqueness and the aura of those cages, and wanting to see. Wouldn't it have been hilarious if Brock Lesnar's in a shark cage with these guys and like he's
and
like
that's where I'm a big proponent of it. Is
like it's just a different look, it's a different feel, it's different than a Royal Rumble type entrance. If I want to see the Royal Rumble type entrance, I'll watch the damn Royal Rumble. But I think it could have been done like it just took away from the element of war games. If you don't have them out there all together like the original war games were, then the shark cages make sense. If you don't have those and you have them just coming out, like you get the surprise element only for the middle people, not the first couple, so I just think it takes away more than it helps.
I agree with you, and I 100% agree with you. The only other thing I'll say to that is the way they've been, and especially in this match, that they had Brock and Roman interact, and then the way Brock met him at the ramp, them not having the shark cages worked here. Because if you had the shark cages, there's no denying the fact that Brock would have either broken out, right? Or both him and Roman, they would be talking shit to each other across the stage. They would both just come out and start brawling right there on the stage, which for us would have been great. But for the overall match, would have fell incredibly flat.
I get it. I would have had, if they had the shark cages, I would have had them two come out first and then just brawl and do the same spots that they did in their part of the match, right? Like
I thought there was a light. So if you watch it back, they do a hard cam shot where there's the ring and then there's the ramp. Here's the stage. There was a light shining down. It was a golden light shining down on what I thought was a platform. And I didn't say it out loud, but in my head, I'm like, maybe that's where they're putting the cages. Because I didn't watch the pre-show. I had to work. So I missed all of that. And I'm like, maybe they're putting it right there. And obviously they didn't, but that would have been cool to have them kind of like one on one side of the crowd, one on the other side of the crowd. They come through the crowd to get into the match. Could have been something different.
Definitely. I agree. So
I want to talk about the elbow. I want to talk about the elbow because we glazed over that, just like they did. I think in the moment it served its purpose to kind of tell that everybody doesn't fully trust each other on this team. And then I think we're going to see that long term as well, because I think we're getting some kind of triple threat between the three of them. It's going to be weird because I don't think they're going to unify the titles again, but I think we're going to get some kind of weird triple threat or instance where Cody would fight Roman and Punk and all this stuff would stack. So while I don't think I know we didn't see a payoff right there in the moment. Don't forget about that moment because I think it's going to have some kind of long-term effect.
And we've seen those seeds planted with them too. Just little things like Monday night about who QB1 is. Oh, you're on my show. Like little breadcrumbs like that that'll add up at the end. And I agree with you. I think the key is, and I think your point is valid. How do they get there, right? And I was a little surprised, but happy. And we're going to talk about it with Raw, where that match is going to happen sooner than the Royal Rumble. So there's opportunity if that's the plan for Punk to drop the title. There is a way to get there if they really wanted to. But
yeah, and
yeah.
it was nice to have them not have that synergy coming in because we knew that the bloodline, or so I'm going to refer to them, there would be synergy there. It was nice to show that, hey, all this smack talk that we'd had earlier in the week didn't kind of go away just magically. And we're all operating at like a well-oiled machine. So I was okay with that. All right, let's go. Let's talk about the John Cena Dominic Mysterio match. Because I think that's gonna carry into everything else that we have.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot in the chat about Dom and Liv, so we're gonna dive into that.
So John Cena drops the title to Dominic Mysterio. Again, I'm okay with that. I wanted that. I asked for that. Because it means that the last time is now tournament finals. I mean, the match at Saturday night's main event. It's not for the Intercontinental title.
Right.
We didn't want that. We didn't want that. We're cool with that. Here's the part that has me perplexed. And I know you guys went off yesterday. You and Chrome did, talking about. Sunday, talking about how Raquel and Roxanne came down to the ring with Dominic out the gate. And then you had Finn and JD come down halfway through the match. They never explained how we're all back on the same page again.
Yep.
Why? Like, I was fine with the match that night. When it all went down, it made sense, but I had it all ending a different way, right? Like, it made sense for Roxanne and Raquel to be out there because then it would justify Liv's return, right? She comes out, she, fights them off. She's coming back as a babyface. She costs Dominic the title, revenge for forgetting about her and ignoring her and letting the Judgment Day fall apart. Like, all of that made sense. Then you had JD and Finn come down. While I'm happy that they got the moment with John, you weren't needed. You guys could go back and play WWE 2K26. Right? Having Liv come out when she did was perfect. Having her come down and seemingly pull a John Cena, Chrome didn't like it. I didn't mind it because initially I didn't catch that she was doing it like him because but I said it on the air too. I popped for her return, even though we all saw it coming. And then when she jumped in Cena's arms, those eyes, John went angry. Liv went crazy.
Yeah.
And Liv did it so much better than John did. And then she planted her foot. Like
in the John Wiener.
Like the John Wiener. Like, there are NFL teams watching that back and going, we should sign her. Here's looking at you, Eagles.
There you go.
Jake Elliott's out of a job. But then you have there was nothing wrong with the match. I thought they put on a great match. Mm-hmm. I thought they did. The wrestling in it was great. This is where we transition out of Survivor Series and we kind of go into Monday Night Raw, where Liv comes out, after Dominic does his little bit saying how he beat John Cena. He's the greatest of all. He should be the greatest of all time, greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time. Liv comes out and she says the Judgment Day has become weak. The Judgment Day has become soft. We're going to take back everything we lost. This was where you set up that civil war. She should have, in that moment, kicked somebody out of the group. And I thought it was going to happen.
You and I both.
It didn't.
I'll say this. I think after what happened on Raw, I kind of understand the Judgment Day all over that match, I'll say. And I think because of where they want to go with Judgment Day, that was kind of the purpose of all of that. I was fine with Raquel and Roxanne out there, but I think you and I talked about this. We kind of assumed since those two were out there, because they really weren't coming out for any of his matches in recent weeks. So with that, it kind of gave it away that something was going to go down. Maybe Liv was coming back. And then when they got kicked out, which I thought was great. I thought that sequence was great. I thought getting Pop Rocks in and getting the power bomb in,
and good
that was
for John.
outstanding.
Good for John for saying, "Hey, let's give them this moment."
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the intention of maybe overbooked, as our pal Chrome has said about this match.
What does he know?
Maybe overbooked, but served a purpose for what happened on Raw. But also, I'm sure Cena was like, "Get all these guys in here. Let me sprinkle that Cena dust all over it and make them look good." Yeah. So now with Liv coming back, I liked it. I thought it was extremely well done. I think, and I said it last week. I thought Dom would win, not clean. I figured it was going to be some shenanigans, and lo and behold, Liv's back. Now, to your point about Raw, I thought Liv was, because you kind of they teased it a little bit too. If you watch the pre-show, not the pre-show, like when they come out and they're walking into the parking lot, Liv says hello to everybody except for one person, and that was Roxanne. So I'm like, she's gonna come out here and say rent's due, and that's it. She's out, and didn't happen. Now, what happened at the end of Raw? I guess maybe with long-term storytelling, maybe because we kind of see who's leading Judgment Day now. It's not Finn Balor, not even
Never
close.
was.
He's like the third person now. It's Liv and Dom that are now the leaders of Judgment Day. It's a foregone conclusion. So maybe the long-term storytelling is we're gonna destroy it from within and start our own thing once we take care of the excess baggage. But maybe, I don't know.
It was also interesting. You talk about the promo on Monday night. It took her forever to mention Raquel, and it felt very off.
Mm-hmm.
I think the more we talk about it, her not acknowledging Roxanne, her giving Roxanne the title and raising their hand, I think that's her saying, "Hey, you know what, Roxanne? You were just a pawn in this. You were brought in to by somebody else to try to take everything away from me. We can't fault you for that, because then when I went down, you stepped up and tried to hold on to, keep this thing together. But there's been one person pulling the strings from behind the scenes that has been wanting to see everything that we've worked so hard to build fail, and that's Finn Balor." And I think that's a way to, because ultimately it's going to be Liv and Dom versus Finn in some aspect, right? JD McDonough's been getting the rub from main event guys to, kind of elevate himself and prepare him for a singles run. Because I think when he sees that there's dissension between the two, I don't think he takes any side. I think he beats up on both of them. And I think it does a triple threat between those three. And I could see JD walking out with the title. But that's wishful thinking. But this is ultimately going to be Finn versus Dominic. I think it's also going to slightly turn into Raquel versus Liv. And
Or at least Liv and Roxanne. Maybe it's kind of just like a smoke screen for, hey, I saw what you were doing. I saw you were trying to take over for me. I saw you put my picture in the back of our clubhouse, trying to forget about me. Well, guess what? I'm back, and I'm gonna act like I like you. Here's your tag title.
Close, but your enemy's
tag
closer
title, and then I'm gonna throw it in your face.
Yeah, it is very possible. I will say, coming out of Survivor Series weekend, this was done, I think, of everything, the best, because this is what we're all talking about. We're not talking about the masked figure as much as I think we should be, because it was a main event spot. we're talking about Liv and Dominic. And I think it's also we've anticipated Liv's return for so long. I think they did a great job kind of hyping it up. I think it fell flat Saturday night, partly because it's an open arena, partly because you just randomly had the Judgment Day out there with no explanation.
I will say, though, and probably a good part of that has to do with John Cena being involved over the last couple of weeks with the Intercontinental title. It served its purpose as far as making Dom, and not only Dom now, but now you've made the Judgment Day relevant again. We've kind of talked about where it's like, when is the end for this group? This group has kind of just been flailing around. We'll win the tag team titles. Now we don't have them. The win, like, kind of just doing that, like you were saying, playing 2K 26 in the clubhouse. It's kind of what they've been relegated to. But now they've been given kind of a little bit of more of a Cena rub, where now maybe we're going to see a little bit more out of the group. Especially, I mean, we're going to see Liv and Dom, and Liv's already getting movie roles again. So, I mean, it would be foolish not to use that as momentum and leverage to push Liv even further up in popularity. I mean, they're heels, but I mean, her and Dom together are over like Rover.
No, I agree. Let's stay with Monday Night Raw, and let's talk about the Braun Breaker segment.
You sound like you hated it. You said you didn't like it?
So part of it was, so I streamed last night on Twitch, and I caught bits and pieces of it because I muted. It had gone to commercial, and so I muted it. And I was playing Fortnite while I was doing it because I obviously have an awful attention span. And by the time I pulled it back, I just saw Braun freaking out, and the ending felt very, because Logan Paul got on the mic and was like, "Yeah." Like, all right, this ended weird. How do you feel about it? Walk me through it.
So I'll say that Braun Breaker, as we've seen since the Vision was formed with the original with Seth, kind of been in the background, not really highlighted. We've seen Bronson. We talked about this where Bronson got his big win, and we were waiting for Braun. And I will say, going back to the ending of that WarGames match, the one thing that I'm happy about, and we talked about this, and Chrome was 100% spot on. I'll give him his props. I'm kissing ass. It's all right. He got it right that Punk was going to take the win over Braun Breaker. And if there's one good thing that came out of that, it's Braun got his big win. One good thing about the men's WarGames matches, Braun got the win.
Okay, you said it backwards. That's what threw me off.
Oh, sorry. But Braun got it. I'm rewinding. I'm starting over.
Okay.
So Braun got his win. So he grabs the mic and he starts talking about Punk, saying that he thought it was going to be tougher to beat him, and he's a paper champion, and he segues to Seth Rollins being a narcissist. He called Punk a bitch. And
I did hear that part.
Yeah, he said, and then he segued to Seth being a narcissist and having to worry about his wife being the bigger star of the family. And it was a solid promo. Now, yes, he yelled quite a bit, and I think maybe some of that was rehearsed and forced. But you know what? Coming from him, I mean, we've talked about where Roman Reigns started as in 2016, 2017, couldn't cut a promo to save his life. And we all know about the succotash promo. See, I can't even say it. Where he has come from that point, from that point to now, where Braun Breaker is worlds ahead of where Roman Reigns was. Yeah, so if that's his first promo, cool.
I guess my problem with Braun Breaker is you're an unpredictable badass. Fine. You're loud and heavy hitting in the ring. Fine. What would be scarier is if you were really controlled and methodical and level tone when you're talking on the mic. The whole like freaking out and yelling, it feels too gimmicky. It feels very much like his dad. Right? Like I'm waiting for him to just start barking at a certain point. And not even like a fun bark, like a yippy bark, like a yippy dog, you know? Because his voice, so one, his voice cracked at the end of that promo last night. I'm new here, but everyone's saying the theory.
We can talk about that in a minute too.
Yeah, we'll give us 1 second, Rocco.
Yeah, thanks for joining.
Yeah, absolutely. But his voice cracks at the end of that promo last night, and it just, I don't know, it took it away from me. If he's just methodical with it to the point that instead of Paul Heyman like chuckling in the background and Logan Paul going, yeah, right? Like have them all be a little scared and be like, wait a minute, he's going to kill us. That would be better for his character for me than the yelling. Because then after a certain point, I'm like, all right, I don't need to listen to you anymore. Right?
Yeah,
like I'm just going to tune you out.
Yeah, especially when you have the Oracle Paul Heyman by your side. Let him do all the talking. Let him say those things.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
I don't need you to talk.
And then he can come in and do his thing. And I mean, now they've set up this match for the first week of Raw for the world title.
Which is dumb. You can't change my mind that we're going to do the anniversary of Raw on Netflix. We're going to do this match. Nope. Because it's 3 weeks removed from the 13th of December. That's 3 weeks before the next Saturday night's main event. It's 4 weeks before the Royal Rumble. No. All you're telling me is Braun Breaker ain't winning this title. No.
I'm okay with it not being at Royal Rumble. I'll say that. I think maybe a Saturday night's main event would have been a little bit the one in January.
Exactly.
That one. That one
would have been. The week before. Let him lose and then let him go run the gauntlet in the Rumble.
Yeah, or wherever direction. And if it is to drop the title like we talked about, then Punk can kind of segue to where he's going to go. But I was fine with the promo last night in general. I think it served the purpose where, all right, he's definitely in the driver's seat and he's gonna get the next crack at Punk. But I think you hit it on the head where it's like on the first Raw, like I don't think they're gonna do a title change unless, and this is my, for lack of a better term, theory, because maybe we'll segue into the masked person. I don't think we see that masked person again until that match.
And that's fine, because then that means that it's related, it's surrounding the Vision, and it's surrounding Braun Breaker specifically. Let's go right into it. I'm new here, but everyone's saying theory, me included, but but remember, Paul invited someone to the Vision that refused. What if it's Sami Zayn? That's not the first time. Rocca, thank you for joining us. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe, share us out, let people know. Also follow us over at Lazy Booking Podcast on YouTube as well. I've seen Sami Zayn a lot thrown around a lot.
Who?
Huh?
No, I'm saying I said it too.
No shit. But you want your cookie? Here's your cookie.
Yeah.
I've seen it said a lot, and I don't take an issue with that. I don't mind it being Sami Zayn because there is that history there where Paul did approach Sami and did try to bring him into the Vision, and they got rid of Seth, and so it's a different Vision now, and trying to frame Seth and frame this person in this limelight of wanting to elevate Braun. The problem with it being Austin Theory is if you bring Austin Theory back now after him being out for so long and how Grayson Waller just buried him, and then he came in to do this spot and all these things. You would expect Austin Theory to go right back to the mountaintop. We'll go right to the mountaintop. I'm sorry. Whereas it would overshadow Braun Breaker. The only way this works is if you bring in Austin Theory and then you have Seth come back, and Seth was sent there. I mean, Theory was sent there by Seth to not humble, but sabotage the Vision so Seth could come back and capture the title at WrestleMania. Like there's a million different ways to play that. I'm nervous about it. I'm nervous with whoever it is, unless it's Seth.
It's got to be the right guy, and I think you saying that it should have been done at Survivor Series. If it was Austin Theory, I'm glad they didn't do it. Well, maybe they should have done it because they would have been done and over with, and then you don't have to. Okay, he helped out; he's part of the Vision. But now, because it's now been kind of stretched out, and it seems like, and I don't think that we're going to find out who this guy is for a while. Maybe that first match, that world title match, or even further, maybe Royal Rumble. But this person now, I don't think it can be Austin Theory, because the last time we saw Austin Theory, he was in a tag team, a very unserious tag team, and was all the way at the bottom of the card. You reveal him as this guy, you think anybody's going to really care?
If they would have done the reveal Saturday, I think it would have popped and the place would have lost their mind.
I don't disagree. I think that was the right spot to do it. But I
Ducks
think also,
suck.
Hey, Brian.
Ducks suck.
I don't know if him being the long-term storytell of this guy. Now, people are like, oh, he's too muscular to be this guy and too muscular. Who says the guy's going to be the guy who was out there? Like, it could be anybody. You could the guy who it really is could be sitting at home, like waiting. Like, all right, I got the call.
Seth.
Here, I'm the guy. Yeah. And then you see the only thing I like about it is, and the announce team did a really nice job. It's like they teased it that it was Seth Rollins. They were like, oh, he's doing Seth's moves, and he did the curb stomp. I think that's creative. I think that's because you're playing off of the leg last time. Like, oh, he's doing it again. He's gonna get us again. He's not getting us this time.
They furthered that with Adam Pearce the next night on Monday Night Raw, right? Saying, hey, he heard Seth was walking around without a sling.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. I hope that it's worth the wait. I would just say, like, if it's Austin Theory, I'm gonna be kind of disappointed, because
if it's Austin Theory, it should have been revealed Saturday night.
Agreed.
Because I legitimately think he would have gotten a killer pop. And we would have all been saying, what is Austin Theory doing with the Vision?
Yeah.
Why is he helping out Braun? Why? There would have been a lot of questions. You do Austin Theory in 2 months to Royal Rumble, we're all going, well, yeah, no shit, we knew it was him.
Yeah. Can I talk one more thing about Raw real quick, and then we can go move on?
Yeah, we gotta blow through these next two.
How about that promo, that segment with Maxine and Natalia and Natty?
Loved it.
Oh my God, that was awesome.
Loved it. If you go back and watch I had it on and I was getting ready to mute it again because it was right after something, and I was gonna go play another round of Fortnite. And I went, wait a minute, what's this? And I'm watching, I'm like, oh, this is a nice vignette. Wonder who they're debuting, because I couldn't pick up on Natty's voice right away.
Mm-hmm.
And then it hit me, and I went, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. If it is Seth, which I very highly doubt it, remember the higher power that Vince was under the hood. Oh my God.
It was me all along, Austin. It was
Damn it.
me. I don't think it's Seth. I think it's too obvious that it's Seth.
First of all, I love the reference, Rocco. I love it.
Oh yeah.
But damn it, I actually think that would make me mad. I think that would fire me up.
He'd come out with his head. He'd be like,
I think that would fire me up. I know that was a beautiful.
Yeah, that was awesome, and I can't wait to see what the end game is with that. Where is Natty gonna? I would guess we're gonna start seeing Natty on the main on Raw, possibly.
Yeah, I think so.
I hope so.
All right, let's do real quick. The last time is now. Finals are set. This is going to be on Friday night. LA Knight versus Gunther. I mean, it's anticlimactic if Gunther wins. I'm sorry.
I know. But
oh God, here he is. Here he is. Guys, I don't hate it being theory, but to throw out another theory, he couldn't pass that up. You can tell the person is definitely built. No way it's Sami Zayn, but what if it were Trick Williams?
Why can't it be Sami Zayn? What's he doing right now? Not doing anything.
Hold on.
Chrome. Doing
This
anything.
jabroni might be onto something.
I could see Trick. Sure. Or Oba. I could see
Oba ain't jumping like that. Oba's too all right. So we all said the guy's muscular, right? Oba's built different, man.
Oba's like a Brock Lesnar.
Like you could have never
you'd have to
I'm okay if whoever did the move Saturday night is not ultimately the guy who they reveal. But you can't have that guy go out there and do that move and then try to tell me it was Obafemi.
I know. But I'm so the Sami Zayn argument, it's kind of like it's already surpassed where he's going to go with this character. And he still doesn't have that big run yet. He got close, but I just like for storyline purposes only, I think Sammy would be a perfect person to be put in the Vision. But I would also not be opposed to having somebody new and up and kind of like the Vision. We see it like now Logan Paul's part of the Vision. So like it's going to be all these up and coming stars that Paul Heyman's going to build is his vision.
So Raga says that Gunther versus Solo match shocked me, being heel versus heel. Solo's match best.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that match. That match was awesome.
That match was great.
Yeah.
But I was really hoping that Solo was going to win and we were going to do something a little bit different than what we all thought, where it being LA Knight versus Solo instead of LA Knight versus Gunther. I'm glad Jey didn't win. I'm glad we didn't run Gunther versus Jey again for the umpteenth million time. I know. I'm gonna eat crow. I know Gunther's gonna win on Friday, but damn it, you'll see me very happy, man, if LA Knight wins. Because I don't want it to be this predictable. I don't know if this is the right move to have Gunther face Cena.
Can you put Chrome's comment on the screen?
No, screw that guy.
Let me just say that, and I 100% agree with
also,
this being the best match of the tournament. But let me just put in perspective here. Gunther has had 3 fantastic matches in this tournament. So in the mindset of if it's going to be Gunther, he has absolutely deserved this opportunity. But I don't think he needs it. I don't think he needs it.
Thank you.
I think out of the two, LA Knight needs it. LA Knight needs something. The guy just keeps losing. And after a while, he's going to have the jerk disease.
You did Cena Solo at WrestleMania. I don't need you to run that back. Right? Let's do this. Let's do LA Knight versus Cena. Doesn't need to be a heel versus face versus face. Don't care about any of that. This is truly just let somebody go out there and showcase what they can do.
Absolutely.
The problem is with Gunther not Gunther. I'm sorry. The problem is Gunther's ending. The way he ends a match is so unpredictable. While I don't think he's going to win. Right? Like I don't. I want the ending to be that high pop, that high energy, that 1-2 place goes nuts. I think Cena's going to win here because he didn't win his first match.
The only thing that I can see is what they're going to do with Gunther is this. If Gunther is the guy and wins the tournament, I think That is a good callback as well.
Where's this guy been? This is great stuff.
Rocco, you the man. But Gunther, I think if he wins this tournament, I think the next guy, I think this is the opportunity to turn him into a babyface. You gain the respect of Cena. You shake his hand after the match. You do all that pop and circumstance. Cool, he's the next guy. I think the next guy he's got to face is Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania, because Brock was the guy that destroyed John Cena at WrestlePalooza. Brock Lesnar's like, hey, oh, you thought you won this tournament? If I was in it, I was going to win it. And you've set up Gunther versus Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania. You don't like it? You don't like it? We've been wanting to see this man.
I don't know if I don't like it. That's a little bit of a stretch.
But you think about it, Gunther's not going to be in a world title match at WrestleMania. Based on who they have on the card, right? Who they have lined up right now, I don't see Gunther getting a world title match at WrestleMania. You got to give him something, and I think that's a dream match that I think it's only a matter of time before Lesnar.
They're just going to throw each other around. No one's going to do anything. I love LA Knight, but his style isn't great for Cena either. He's generally very technical, and I think both of them would be slow, and whoever he faces, I ultimately want to see Cena look great. Yeah, I agree.
I mean, Gunther's made 3 guys look great already. He's made Goldberg look great.
What he made Akira Tozawa look great. Like Gunther can make somebody look amazing. I won't deny that. I won't take that away from Gunther. Right? He's very, very good at what he does on both sides of the ball. But will it hurt Gunther coming back and losing that? The only way, unless it sends him into a realization, like it humbles him almost.
Yeah. Dynasty brings up a good point too. I think they've alluded to that in Knight's in his promos, like, oh, we've had some history. I think that's what he's alluding to. We've teamed up and kind of playing off some sort of history, why it makes sense for Knight to face John Cena. I think that's been brought up briefly during some of Knight's promos.
Yeah, no, I get where Dynasty's going with that too.
Yeah.
He gave Goldberg the best match of his career in his last. I don't disagree. With any of that. Yep. The only way this works is if Cena beating him humbles him, because Gunther's always said he's the best. That's how you get me to a face turn.
Yeah, you shake hands after the match, and Cena gives him his flowers, like, great job, and Cena rides off into the sunset, and Gunther now takes the mantle as the guy who retired John Cena, and now Gunther is the guy, and now that's what I think. Who better? And I like the idea of Ilya Dragunov too, but I think Gunther needs something bigger on a bigger stage, and I think that moment could be with Brock Lesnar. It could be. And maybe I'm way off, but I think it's a logical place to go, especially if you win and then you become a babyface.
All right, we got just a few minutes left here. We do have the hockey happy hour starting in. I think he goes over Cena and Cena raises his hand. I'll disagree with you on that. I would like to see Cena win and humble Gunther a little. That long-term wise humbles Gunther. Gunther versus Ilya at Mania for the U.S. belt. Gunther wins and Gunther takes the U.S. belt, brings in European title like MJF did with the American title.
He made the IC title very big. I mean, I'm not I think Ilya's doing a really good job with that title. I think Gunther would be a legitimate person to beat him, but I think there's going to be somebody else that comes along that
I don't
takes
see
that title from him. But I think the concept is good. I like the concept.
Gunther can't go backwards right now, and I think that putting the U.S. title on Gunther is a step backwards right now, only because Ilya is doing great things with it. The open challenge is great. That is kind of building up something with Tommaso Ciampa as well.
Yep.
Trying to insert Gunther in that at this moment won't work. Talk to me in about 6 months to a year. Maybe, Just depending on where Gunther's at in his career and who's
Also,
got the US
also
title.
Ilya. I would imagine at that point, hopefully he's not the U.S. champion and he's up the card a little bit, especially if you know.
No, I think Ilya's going to sit here in this mid card for a little bit. Only until we start seeing some of these top guys kind of riding off in the sunset. I think Brock's going to ride off into the sun. If Brock fights Gunther, I think that's his last match. Roman's not that far behind him. We know AJ's leaving. We know Randy's going to be leaving soon.
Yep.
Finn's getting up there in age. So once we start taking some of these guys and we phase them out, then you can bring in Trick Williams, Obafemi, Ilya. Your NXT main event for the last year becomes those top guys.
Very true. Good points.
All right, you wanted it. You're getting it. Let's talk about it. TNA Wrestling lands a deal with AMC. Yay!
Look, I think it's good news. It's good news because there's more wrestling on TV. There's more to watch, and I think
like we needed more.
There's sickos like me out there that like to watch it. What do you want? But now I can watch it if there's nothing on Thursday night. They're going to be on Thursday, a night that doesn't have wrestling right now.
Oh God.
Be happy for these
You're not
guys.
going to watch it.
What do you mean they're not going to watch it?
You're not going to watch it, you jackass.
Yeah, I'll watch it.
Okay. So for everybody that's confused, because I clearly was up until 2-3 hours ago when these geniuses said, let's end the show with TNA and AMC. AMC Networks and TNA Wrestling Today announced a multi-year agreement to bring TNA's flagship weekly television show, Thursday Night Impact, to AMC, TNA's new television home in the U.S. The TNA-AMC partnership kicks off live from the Curtis Colwell Center in Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex on Thursday, January 15th. Mind you, Impact will be a 2-hour block. It'll be from 9 to 11 on the East Coast. The agreement also extends the weekly telecast to viewers on AMC+.
And this is another way for WWE to get on in another network. Let's face it. The only reason they got this deal is because WWE is involved. So it's another opportunity look at it from a business point of view. Don't even look at it as from a fan's point of view. Look at it as an opportunity for business in a business that if I can have my product and my people on and I don't have to pay for it, all good. Yeah, it's an opportunity. I think it's calculated by WWE, but it benefits TNA. It's more guys that are going to be able to showcase what they got. It's always good to have more wrestling on TV. I think it's for AMC to pick this up.
Wait until you have to start figuring out how to build your show out.
Oh, so I'm gonna be doing it. So Yvonne told me to do Impact on a Thursday night after show, starting the Arch, baby.
Yeah, wait until you damn it. What do we focus on this week?
What do you want to talk about?
It's good because it shows the value of relationship with WWE. TNA has upped their profile and gotten attention. Don't get me wrong. I'm not taking away from TNA. I think it's very good for them, right? I know TNA president Carlos Silva has said that the relationship with WWE will continue and the storylines will continue and keep going forward. There was some confusion. People thought that by taking this TV deal, it was going to end the partnership with WWE and TNA. That's supposedly not the case. Chrome says WWE showing other companies that the relationship with them is extremely beneficial. AEW hasn't been able to have this kind of spotlight for the other companies because AEW is garbage. I said it. I meant it. I will die on that hill because I haven't done this in a while. That black sweatshirt wearing jabroni just wants to sit there and play action figures with daddy's money. My soapbox, I'll stick to it. TNA is now the Walking Dead of wrestling. Ha! Ha! I like that. Chrome alluded to it actually a little bit ago because we are going to wrap some things up here. Next week starts a 2-week segment with the one and only. Where is the picture?
Not where's the picture. Vince Russo. He's coming on
I
the
couldn't
show.
find the picture. Leave me alone, man.
Yes. Vince Russo will be here next week with Chrome and myself. We cannot wait to talk about the John Cena Last Time Is Now tournament, as we will then know who John Cena's opponent is, either Gunther or LA Knight. So
Yeah.
we're going to take a look at that. We're going to preview his final match on Saturday night's main event. We may ask him a few questions here and there about his new venture, which he is now an on-screen character for JCW, and I saw he is a benefactor or something. I forget what they're calling him. They're calling him he's funding money to help JC Ice of
Anyway,
yeah.
Vince Russo will be on for the next 2 weeks, December 9th, to preview the final episode. Not final episode. John Cena's final event, Saturday night's main event, and then he'll come back 1 week later to recap everything, put a beautiful bow on it. And where does John Cena really sit among some of the greatest professional wrestlers of all time? This is going to be Vince Russo from Vince Russo's The Brand of WWE and WCW
TNA
notoriety. Screw his time in TNA. I'm kidding. Rocker says, I'll sure be back before I leave. Favorite era of wrestling for both of you. Attitude era from promos aspect, current era for wrestling. I'll go back and watch a lot of Attitude Era promos. I can't watch any of the wrestling.
I like I'm like when I first started watching 91, 92, even though it wasn't the greatest like product looking back, but it's just sentimental to me. But I think an underrated time for wrestling was that SmackDown era of 2004, 2005. There was some amazing talent, amazing matches on SmackDown. If you get time, go back and watch. It's pretty.
That was when you had Taker, Eddie, Edge,
Mysterio.
SmackDown. They were like the SmackDown 5, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But we're gonna get off here. Hockey Happy Hour will be starting, I believe, I think
it's at 9.
Yeah, so it'll be in about the next hour.
Take a
Hockey
breath.
Happy Hour will be here live on HD Radio. Guys, make sure you're following us on Instagram, HD Radio, and also follow Lazy Booking Podcast. Check us out on YouTube as well. Lazy Booking Pod TV. We got some exclusive stuff coming out. Also, tune into HD Radio for so many more coverages, whether it's Eagles Talk, Flyers Talk, Sixers Talk, HD Wednesday night, whatever fills your fancy. You can find it here on A2D Radio. This was a hell of a time. If you didn't, also, by the way, if you didn't catch Chrome yesterday with the Blue Weenie, that is in the HUD archives as well. We want to thank our sponsors, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC. Check him out on the web or in his locations, Burlington and Cherry Hill, New Jersey. He's our doc. Make him yours. Ladies and gentlemen, this was a hell of a show. This was a lot of fun. Thank you, Chrome, for allowing me to step into your shoes and take the reins of Lazy Booking. It was great to be back on the HUD airwaves as a host. Arch, this was a lot of fun. You're actually not as bad of a co-host as I thought you would be.
Well, you got to start somewhere and work your way up. So I guess I'm working up the ladder, you know.
Yeah,
but, no, this was a lot of fun.
Then again, the Butters set the bar kind of mid. No, I'm kidding. I love Butters. I love Butters. I love him.
You guys have good chemistry. I say go back and watch that summer or Survivor Series watch along. That was great, and I want to be in for the next one.
But we are gonna get out of here, guys. Until then, tell somebody you love them. Peace, love, and joy. We're out.
See ya.